We got something special and you can see from my poster from Gibson back in 1972, a picture of Keith Richards back when he was, in his late 20s and playing an old Les Paul Custom. World War II, I'm sorry, a bit of history if you don't mind. World War II ended late 45 for America. After that was quite a boon as the soldiers came back. We moved from a war effort where everything was about making war machines and bullets back to industry making things, and the middle class boomed. And baby boomers, that is from that post-war time period, and a huge population boost. Also a lot of celebration, and music started exploding. Fender started making musical instruments in 46. They were repairing radios, but now they started making electric guitars, steel guitars at first for a few years before they came out with the Telecaster in 1950, 51. Finally in 52, Gibson, who was traditionally making cellos. Gibson's had a history of making flat tops for the country market, and cello type jazz guitars, that was their specialty. They did not like the idea of solid body guitars. They were a joke. And they were clutching their pearls over the thought of a bolt-on neck. Like, what? They have a bolt-on neck? What a joke. So they came out with an idea that previously Les Paul had pitched them, and that's a Gibson solid body guitar. And the reason they did it is because, again, audiences are getting bigger. Amplifiers were getting bigger. The need to amplify your guitar got bigger, and when you had one of these jazz boxes, your guitar fed back. It was a constant problem. You had hum, you had bigger audiences, you're playing bigger clubs. The world is like just hot for music right now. And all this happened before rock and roll, but Gibson was used to their people that were playing with all the pop stars. They had Les Paul. Les Paul before 53 had a number of hits. He was a huge hit maker over World War II and into the late 40s and early 50s. His career declined as rock and roll came up and Elvis Presley came up, but Les Paul was kind of a genius in recording. Les Paul was a genius in other things. They were eager to put his name on it. They put his name on a gold top, and this is a 73 gold top. I'm just showing you that 53 era gold top had the wraparound bridge, and then they used a variant of that for the Junior. This is a double cut Junior, but then something happened in 1953. They hired a guy named Seth Lover, who was working in the Navy as an electrician, and Seth Lover came up with this new pickup design. What they were trying to do with the Alnico 5 magnet pickup with these square bobbins, and here, I'm going to show that to you. You can see that pickup has square magnets, as opposed to that pickup, which is your standard P90. The P90 was in use since the mid-40s, but this Seth Lover had come along, and what they wanted was a pickup that would amplify. These pickups typically have more windings. Right now, this pickup, this 1957 Custom, this pickup is an output of 7.8. This pickup is 8.7. It's significantly less or more output. The reason they did that is so the amplifier wouldn't be as noisy. They could bring the amp down without the gain. And so this guitar, and I'm going to play through a 1948 Gibson BR3. So this is a post-war amp. The P90's got some timbre, some growl. Both together, they have a nice out-of-phase sound. And then the neck pickup with this staple pickup. When I was growing up in the 70s, they used to call this pickup the Velvet Hammer. What's the difference is that this guitar is, let me turn this down, This guitar, the Alnicos, are an Alnico 5 magnet. That means there's more cobalt. Cobalt then and cobalt now is a rare earth substance, and the rare earth substance was much more expensive to make. They didn't want to put it in everything, so they decided to put these pickups only in their top-of-the-line guitars. Your gold hardware guitars, your Super 400s had it, your L5s had it, and the L5 with staple pickups is just a fabulous sounding pickup. But it's got a little different sound. It's a little more hollow than that. And then in '52, they patented this. So instead of having wraparound bridges, Ted McCarty, who was the president of Gibson, did this, and that is the Tune-O-Matic. That was his term, and he patented it in late '52. And after it was patented, he put it on all the top-of-the-line guitars. So the Les Paul Custom was really the first guitar to get this pickup. It came out in 1953, okay? But this is a '57, and they only made these in half the year in '57. This is the last year for this thing before they came out with the humbucking pickup. The humbucking pickup went into the customs right away. Again, the top-of-the-line guitars got the first advancements. It's like your Cadillac. The first car to get an air conditioning, Cadillac. And in Gibson lore, the first thing to get that is the gold hardware, top-of-the-line guitars. And so we just got this in, and they made like 250, 280 of these in '57. This is a really rare guitar. It's also completely straight. You can see in the back, there's no buckle wear. There's a little bit of finish wear, but this guitar was loved. Remember, Gibsons were really rare. If you had one of these back then, you were one of the dudes, because not every store had it. 250 of these were shipped, and this with its gold hardware, its fancy bound headstock, gold tuners, this headstock inlay, which was only available on the Super 400, the ebony board, the big blocks. It also had smaller frets because this was designed to be used with flat wound strings, and flat wound strings is what everybody uses. When they put these guitars out, it had 12 gauge flat wound strings, and real men didn't bend strings back then. They didn't do this. They did this. I mean, the P90 has some teeth to it. It's got some harshness to it with the Alnico 5. A lot of people back in the day would pull these Alnico 5 magnets closer trying to get more gain, and it gives off some wolf tones, some false tones. You need to keep these magnets down, but this is an extremely rare guitar. Now, when vintage guitars are climbing in value and a '57 Les Paul Gold Top is going for $200,000. These customs, especially something in this clean condition that has the original strap, has the original case, and by the way, these cases, these pebbled cases, are black. These cases, the black cases, were on the gold hardware guitars. Brown cases were all the standard issue guitars, but this new pebbled texture, this faux leather top, this was standard. You always see customs with that case. And this custom is completely straight, one owner, has the original strap, even has this too, which the previous owner, when we saw it, this is tied around the headstock, and he wore his guitar like this, which gives it better balance, having your balance point here as opposed to here where it gets neck heavy. This guy, whoever played it, was a serious guy. He took really good care of it. No wear here, no fret wear, really in fine shape. We've cleaned it up, we just got it in, and it represents a real value, but also a piece of American guitar history, just because of this Alnico 5, the predecessor to the humbucking pickup, and then these Tune-O-Matic bridges, the Les Paul Custom in '53. late 53, was the first to get that bridge. And so also on these, this is all mahogany. These guitars never had a maple top. It was carved mahogany, one sheet of mahogany, because it was a jazz guitar. They weren't looking, and rock and roll was not invented yet. Elvis came out in 55. By 56, he was king. But these guitars, as they were designed, was before the advent of rock and roll. So there you go, a 1957 Les Paul Custom. We're super excited to have it. We've got more coming your way, but this is really just gorgeous to look at. Look at the yellowed binding, the gold hardware, all the extra trim, and the fact that there's only 280 of these is just mind-blowing. There's not enough to go around.